You know that moment when you walk into your apartment, juggling your keys, your phone, your bag, and before you even realize it, everything ends up on the sofa? That's the everyday chaos of small space living. There's no real entryway, no place for things to land. The door opens straight into your living area, and suddenly the sofa becomes the drop zone, the coffee table becomes the mailroom, and the floor becomes the shoe rack. It's not that you're messy. It's that the space never told you where things should go. In tiny apartments, the lack of a visual stop between the outside world and your living zone blurs the boundaries. That blur creates clutter, even if you only dropped your keys and jacket for a second. But the good news? You don't need a separate foyer to feel organized. You just need a defined landing zone. A small area that quietly says, this is where things belong when you walk in. Today, we'll break down 11 simple, yet design-smart ways to create that zone. From floating shelves to hidden cabinets, from small rugs to lighting cues. These ideas don't just organize your space. They completely change how your home feels when you step through the door. The fastest way to stop entry clutter is to give every object a place to land, immediately. That's what we call the instant landing zone. And yes, even in the tiniest apartment, there's room for one. Start with a wall near your door, or even the back of your sofa if that's your entry line. A floating shelf or narrow console table instantly creates a visual anchor. It doesn't have to be deep, just wide enough for a small tray, a dish for keys, and maybe a small vase or candle to make it feel intentional. That one surface changes everything. Why? Because your eyes and hands naturally seek a place to put things down the moment you enter. When that surface exists, the sofa is no longer the default. If you're tight on space, think vertically. A wall-mounted rack, or even a fold-down shelf, can do the same job without eating into your walkway. The key is to keep it simple. One spot for essentials, not a catch-all. Now here's where the magic happens. Styling with purpose. Add a tray or shallow basket to contain loose items. Keys, mail, sunglasses, earbuds. It keeps them from spreading across the surface and gives your space that style but lived-in look you see in design magazines. Want to elevate it a little? Add something beautiful but low maintenance. A framed photo, a sprig of dried eucalyptus, or a candle in a tone that matches your decor. It turns a functional surface into a welcome moment. If your entry opens straight into your living room, the landing zone also acts as a psychological divider. It tells your brain, you've arrived. You can set things down and shift modes. That's more powerful than it sounds. It helps create a daily ritual that separates the outside world from your personal space. For renters, this is the easiest fix possible. No drilling, no construction. Command strips and adhesive shelves are your best friends. And if your apartment truly has no wall to spare, try placing a slim console right behind your sofa. This trick works brilliantly in studio layouts. It becomes your invisible entryway, holding keys and mail while blending into your living area styling. So yes, you may not have a grand foyer, but with one narrow surface and a few intentional details, you've created something just as powerful, a calm, welcoming moment that sets the tone for your entire home. Let's talk about the second simplest upgrade, and one of the most life-changing for small spaces: hooks at eye level. Here's the truth. If you don't have a place to hang things the second you walk in, they'll end up on the nearest flat surface. It's human nature. A jacket, a tote bag, a dog leash, they all need a quick home. Hooks turn that instinct into organization. Start with one clean row right where your arm naturally reaches. Eye level is ideal because it feels intuitive. You don't bend down, you don't reach up. You just walk in and hang. Now, forget the utilitarian metal hooks that feel like something from a garage wall. The modern version is design forward. Matte black steel for minimalist homes, light oak pegs for Scandinavian or Japandi interiors, brass for a touch of vintage charm. Even a simple wood rail with multiple pegs can look curated when styled right. And here's the secret. Hooks aren't just for function. They're styling anchors. Hang a straw hat next to a linen tote. Add a small hanging plant or a macrame holder for texture. Even a lightweight framed print above the row completes the visual story, turning what was once clutter into a styled wall moment. If you're renting, removable adhesive hooks or over-the-door systems make this completely reversible. Choose ones that match your palette so they blend in seamlessly. Think of hooks as part of your vertical rhythm. In a small space, every surface, even the walls, should do double duty. A simple row can hold jackets in winter, canvas bags in summer, and even double as drying racks for small accessories. One pro tip: keep the number limited. A maximum of 4 to 6 hooks is usually enough for everyday items. The goal isn't to fill every peg. It's to make the wall feel intentional, not crowded. To finish the look, ground it with something below: a small bench, a basket, or even just a rug. It visually connects the hooks to the rest of the entry zone and gives your eye a natural stopping point. In under 15 minutes, you've created a grab-and-go system that looks as good as it works. It's not storage, it's lifestyle choreography. The kind that makes your tiny apartment run like a well-designed boutique hotel. Now let's move down to the floor, the most underrated storage zone in a small apartment. A soft basket by the door might sound like a small thing, but it's one of those ideas that changes your daily rhythm completely. Think of it as the last stop before you enter your living space. Shoes, tote bags, yoga mats, reusable shopping bags. Everything that usually spills into the entry area now has a quiet home. Start with material, because texture matters. Woven seagrass or rattan baskets add warmth and instantly soften the look of hard surfaces. Felt or canvas bins work beautifully in modern or minimalist spaces. The key is flexibility. You want something that looks natural even when it's half full. What makes this trick work is its simplicity. There's no lid, no moving parts, just a soft, inviting catch-all. And that means you'll actually use it. If it's too complicated, things won't make it in there. For small apartments, shape and placement make all the difference. Round baskets fit neatly beside a console or under a floating shelf. Rectangular ones tuck under benches or even slide under a console table. Keep it within arm's reach of the entry line, and your habits will change overnight. Here's a design secret. Match the tone of your basket to your flooring or furniture. It visually blends into the room, making it look styled, not like extra storage. Or go for contrast if you want it to stand out as a texture moment. A black woven basket on light wood floors, for instance. You can also layer functionality. Keep one for shoes and another for grab-and-go items, umbrellas, scarves, or gym gear. Stack them or place them side by side for balance. Add a small tag or ribbon to subtly label them. In and out work perfectly. For studio apartments, this single basket trick can even replace a full shoe rack. You just rotate the contents seasonally, sandals in summer, boots in winter. Want to elevate it a little further? Slip a smaller organizer inside, a lidded box for keys, or a smaller pouch for mail. It's a way to create order within order. The best part is how it feels. A woven basket softens hard corners and adds that touch of natural calm that every small home needs. It's one of those little details that makes a space feel curated, not cramped. So yes, a simple soft basket can turn visual chaos into calm texture. It's your entryway's equivalent of a deep breath, understated, useful, and quietly beautiful. One of the most underrated pieces in any small entry is the bench. Not the bulky kind, but a small, slim one that makes your home feel immediately more intentional. Think about what happens the moment you come home. You need to take off your shoes, drop your bag, or just pause for a second. Without a surface to do that, everything ends up on the floor or the sofa. A bench quietly solves that, while also making your apartment feel like it has a real foyer, even if it's just 1 meter wide. The magic of a small bench lies in its multi-purpose nature. It's a seat, a shelf, a styling platform, and sometimes even hidden storage. If you live in a studio or one-bedroom apartment, it's not just furniture. It's part of your daily transition ritual. For compact spaces, choose something narrow. Even a simple wooden plank style or a backless padded stool works beautifully. The goal is to keep it visually light. Pieces with open legs or floating silhouettes give the illusion of space while still offering function. If your style leans cozy, try a woven or upholstered seat with soft texture, linen, boucle, or leather. It adds warmth right at your entry point. For a more modern aesthetic, go for clean lines. Oak or ashwood with simple metal accents. And remember, the space under the bench is valuable real estate. Slide-in baskets or fabric bins for shoes, umbrellas, or seasonal accessories. It's the perfect balance between open and contained. Things stay hidden but accessible. Style-wise, the top of the bench can also double as a small vignette. Add a cushion or a folded throw blanket for softness. Maybe a small tray or stack of books if you want to treat it as decor when not in use. The key is restraint. You want it to feel welcoming, not cluttered. If your layout doesn't allow for a full bench, a sturdy stool or ottoman works just as well. Bonus points if it has hidden storage inside. You can tuck it away under a console when not in use. Here's a design trick from boutique hotels. Placing a bench directly under a mirror or set of hooks creates a vertical entry story. It gives the illusion of structure, even in a completely open layout. So yes, a bench or stool might sound like a small addition, but it transforms behavior. It tells you, pause here, settle in, this is home. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful design tools in small spaces, the wall mirror. It's not just for checking your outfit before you head out. It's a spatial illusionist, a light amplifier, and a finishing touch that instantly elevates any entry. In small apartments, mirrors do double, even triple, duty. They reflect natural light, making your space feel brighter and more open. They visually double the size of narrow hallways. And, maybe most importantly, they create that feeling of completion, the idea that your entry is a real zone, not just a pass-through. Start by thinking about placement. The best spot is usually opposite a light source, a window, a sconce, or even a lamp on your console table. The reflection multiplies light and depth instantly. Frame style matters, too. A thin black or brass frame suits minimalist or modern interiors. A natural wood frame warms up boho, japandi, or cottage-inspired spaces. A vintage or ornate mirror instantly adds soul. Perfect if your apartment has that collected aesthetic. Round mirrors tend to soften angular spaces, while rectangular mirrors create structure. For super tight layouts, try a tall, narrow mirror. It draws the eye upward and makes the ceiling feel higher. If your wall space is limited, even a half mirror above a console works. The key is to integrate it into your existing styling. Hang it above your entry shelf, bench, or cabinet. It should feel like part of the composition, not an afterthought. And here's a pro move. Pair your mirror with lighting. A small wall sconce or pendant nearby creates that boutique-like glow, the kind you see in hotels or curated homes. It's not just practical. It sets mood and rhythm the moment you step in. Mirrors also anchor emotion. When you catch your reflection as you walk in, it's a small, grounding moment, like your home saying, "Welcome back." And when you're heading out, it's that final glance of reassurance. If you're renting, go adhesive or lean a mirror against the wall. You can even rest it on top of your console for a relaxed, layered look. And for an extra touch, style the reflection intentionally. What's opposite your mirror will become part of your visual experience every day. Maybe it reflects greenery, artwork, or your favorite corner, something that gives your entry a sense of life and continuity. In tiny apartments, the mirror is your secret superpower. It doesn't take up any space, yet it gives the illusion of more. It's not just functional decor, it's emotional design. The kind that turns even a one-step entry into a moment that feels complete. Let's talk about one of the smallest but smartest upgrades you can make, the tray system. Sounds simple, right? But this one trick turns random clutter into calm composition, and that's a huge visual win in any small apartment. Here's the idea. Every object that lands on your console or entry shelf should have a boundary, and that boundary is the tray. When you contain things visually, your brain reads the area as organized, even if there are a dozen small items inside. Start by thinking of 3 zones, one for keys and pocket items, one for mail or paperwork, and one for outgoing things, items you need to grab before heading out. These categories form your micro-organization system. The beauty of trays is that they can adapt to any aesthetic. A marble slab looks refined and timeless. A woven rattan tray brings warmth and texture. A ceramic dish or vintage plate adds personality and softness. The key is proportion. It should feel like it belongs to the surface, not overwhelm it. Want a layered look? Use different sizes, a small dish for keys inside a larger tray for mail or sunglasses. This creates hierarchy, like visual storytelling. And when you add a small decorative touch, maybe a candle, a dried flower stem, or a mini photo frame, The whole vignette feels curated, not random. One clever detail: choose trays with slightly raised edges. It keeps items from sliding off and creates that crisp, finished look even when the tray isn't perfectly arranged. If your apartment has no console at all, a tray can still define your entry zone on any available surface: a floating shelf, a cabinet top, even the back of a sofa. It's less about the furniture and more about creating an intentional moment of order. There's also a psychological layer here. When you drop your keys into the same dish every day, it becomes a ritual, one that signals transition from outside to home. These small, repeated actions bring calm consistency to tiny space living. For renters or anyone who wants flexibility, lightweight trays are perfect because you can change them seasonally, switch out materials, colors, or even shapes to refresh the look. So yes, a tray might seem small, but it's design logic distilled, form and function, working together to make everyday life smoother and calmer. It's not just where you drop things, it's where you start breathing again. Sometimes, it's not about adding furniture, it's about defining the invisible. And that's exactly what a rug does in a tiny apartment entry. When your door opens directly into the living room, the boundary between outside and home gets blurry. A small rug fixes that instantly. It says, this is where you arrive. It's visual zoning without walls. Start with texture. Natural fibers like jute, sisal, or woven cotton feel grounded and work beautifully for high-traffic areas. They're durable, low maintenance, and add warmth underfoot. If your space leans modern or cozy, a low-pile wool rug or a washable flat weave in soft neutrals keeps things clean and quiet. In terms of color, the rule is simple. Go tonal for calm, contrast for energy. A rug that echoes your flooring or wall color creates visual flow, ideal for minimalists. But if you want a moment of character, a patterned rug, think stripes, microchecks, or vintage Kilim prints, can turn the entry into a design feature instead of just a transition space. Size-wise, you don't need much. Even a 60 by 90 centimeters mat can do the job. Just make sure it sits fully within your door swing so it doesn't bunch up. And if your layout allows, try a runner rug that visually elongates the entry and draws the eye inward. The key to using a rug effectively is contrast of function and feeling. Choose one that's durable enough to handle shoes, but still soft enough to make you pause for a second. That moment when your feet hit something textured, that's the cue that you've crossed the threshold into comfort. For renters, rugs are also a low-commitment way to add color and personality without painting or remodeling. They instantly warm up sterile flooring and help visually link your entry palette to the rest of your space, especially if you echo the tones in your sofa pillows or wall art. Here's a pro trick. Layer 2 rugs if your space allows, a thin jute base with a smaller patterned one on top. It adds depth and makes even the tiniest entry feel intentional. And yes, don't forget maintenance. Use a rug pad to keep it in place, and choose washable materials whenever possible. It's a high-traffic zone, after all. The beauty of this fix is that it's both psychological and physical. A rug grounds your entry visually, but it also grounds you. It slows you down, gives you a moment to exhale, to drop your bag, and to feel that quiet shift from the outside world to your private space. It's such a small layer, yet it holds the entire mood of your home. Let's step up the design game a little, literally, with a floating entry cabinet. If you've ever wished your small apartment felt more polished or built in, this is the secret. Floating cabinets instantly make a space look intentional, structured, and airy without eating into your floor. In most tiny apartments, the entry area is awkward, too narrow for full furniture, but too open to leave blank. That's where wall-mounted storage shines. A floating cabinet offers the best of both worlds. Hidden compartments for the clutter you don't want to see, and clean lines that keep the floor visible. That visibility is key. It tricks your brain into feeling like the space is larger. Start with proportion. Choose a piece that's roughly the same width as your visual entry line. It could be a sleek, wall-mounted console, or even an IKEA cabinet hack, secured slightly above floor level. The space beneath creates visual breathing room, perfect for a small bench, a basket, or even just a plant to soften the edges. What goes inside depends on your lifestyle. Maybe it's a drawer for keys, masks, or chargers, or a compartment for shoes, umbrellas, and reusable bags. The best designs keep it flexible. Adjustable shelves or a mix of open and closed spaces let you adapt as your needs change. Design-wise, match the finish to your existing furniture. If your living area features light wood tones, continue that in the cabinet to create harmony. For modern spaces, matte white or black blends seamlessly with walls, giving that built-in look. Floating cabinets also double as styling surfaces. The top can hold a small lamp, a vase, or even a stack of books. Think of it as your micro-console, compact but powerful. Lighting under the cabinet adds a luxury touch. Even a soft LED strip can create that warm, architectural glow that guides you in at night. If you're renting, don't worry. There are adhesive-mounted or freestanding options that mimic the floating effect. You can also repurpose wall-mounted kitchen cabinets for a budget-friendly alternative. And here's the psychological benefit. When clutter disappears behind closed doors, your entry instantly feels calmer. It's like visual silence, a pause before the rest of the home unfolds. A floating cabinet doesn't just save space, it defines space. It says, this area matters. And that subtle sense of design confidence sets the tone for everything else inside your apartment. Light might be the most underrated design tool in small apartments, especially at the entry. That's where integrated lighting comes in. It's not just about seeing where you're going. It's about feeling welcomed home. When you enter a small apartment, your eyes adjust instantly to the lighting mood. A harsh overhead bulb makes the space feel utilitarian and cold, while soft, layered light immediately makes it feel intentional, warm, and lived in. The good news? You can achieve that boutique hotel glow without rewiring your ceiling. Start simple. A wall sconce or plug-in lamp near your entry instantly elevates the tone. Wall sconces can flank a mirror or float above a console, casting soft light that frames your landing zone. If you rent, adhesive or clamp-mounted sconces are easy, no drill options. They look designer, but remove cleanly. A table lamp on your entry shelf or cabinet is another great move. It creates a welcoming pool of light and eliminates that harsh overhead glare. Opt for warm bulbs, 2700 K or below, for a cozy golden hue that flatters every corner. For a more contemporary feel, LED strip lighting under a floating cabinet or behind a mirror adds a subtle architectural effect. It's that quiet kind of lighting you notice subconsciously. It tells your brain, this home has intention. If your layout is tight, look upward. Install a ceiling-mounted pendant, or even a minimalist track light that highlights the entry without flooding the whole room. The goal is gentle guidance, not spotlight intensity. You can also use lighting to layer emotion. A small candle, salt lamp, or diffused lantern can serve as your night mode, perfect for soft evenings when you want the apartment to feel calm and grounded. Color temperature plays a huge role here. Cooler white light, for 1000K and up, feels bright and task-oriented. Great for workspaces, but too stark for a home entry. Warm tones between 2200K and 2700K mimic sunset light. It's the secret to that cozy, cinematic glow you see in design videos. And don't underestimate the emotional payoff. When your lighting welcomes you home, it changes your daily rhythm. Instead of stepping into darkness or clutter, you step into atmosphere. Want a subtle design bonus? Let your light fixture double as art. Sculptural sconces, frosted glass globes, or woven pendants can add personality and texture without needing any extra decor. If you integrate lighting thoughtfully, your entry stops being a passage and becomes an experience, one that quietly transitions you from the outside world to your private calm. It's a small change with an outsized emotional effect. Proof that design isn't just about how a space looks, but how it makes you feel the moment you walk through the door. If there's one design principle that instantly transforms a small apartment from chaotic to calm, it's this: what you can't see doesn't stress you out. That's the quiet power of closed storage. Open baskets, trays, and hooks handle the daily flow. But there's always that second layer, the things you don't use every day but still need close by. Shoes, umbrellas, chargers, reusable bags. Those items deserve a home too, and that's where closed storage steps in. Think of it as your apartment's quiet zone. Behind one closed door, all the little life clutter disappears, out of sight, out of mind. Even a slim cabinet can hold more than you expect. If you have space for a standing unit, choose one that sits flush against the wall, ideally waist height so it doubles as a styling surface. A clean, matte finish makes it feel built in, especially when it matches your wall or trim color. In small spaces, blending is often better than standing out. Inside, organization is key. Use vertical dividers for shoes, clear bins for tech accessories, or labeled boxes for small household items. This is where your habits matter. Design your storage to suit your real routine. If you always grab headphones on your way out, keep them near the top. If you need umbrellas during rainy season, hang them on the cabinet door with a hook. Renters can get creative, too. Use narrow wardrobes, repurposed kitchen cabinets, or even wall-mounted lockers for that same hidden order effect. IKEA's Besta or Boxel systems, for example, are perfect for this. Minimal, flexible, and easy to adapt over time. From a visual standpoint, closed storage also balances the entry composition. When you have a mix of open elements, like hooks and baskets, paired with one solid closed piece, the space feels layered but intentional, never cluttered. Here's another designer trick. Match the hardware to your apartment's mood. Brushed brass gives warmth, matte black adds contrast, and wooden knobs soften the look. The most satisfying part? That moment you close the door and everything looks serene again. It's not just clean, it's emotionally quiet. In a small apartment, every bit of hidden storage is a gift. It's the invisible structure that allows the visible parts of your home. The textures, the art, the light. to shine without distraction. So when you think of entry storage, don't just think, where can I put things? Think, how can I hide them beautifully? That's the shift that turns functional design into peaceful living. Finally, let's talk about the finishing touch, those small, unsung heroes that make an entry truly complete. The slim umbrella stand and the wall-mounted mail slot. They might sound minor, but they solve two of the most persistent everyday frustrations: dripping umbrellas and wandering mail piles. Both take almost no space, yet they instantly elevate the entry from functional to thoughtfully designed. Start with the umbrella stand. The key is slimness and stability. Look for tall, narrow designs that can slide beside a console, bench, or even behind the door. Metal mesh or ceramic cylinders are classic choices, but modern versions come in minimalist forms: matte white, soft beige, or even transparent acrylic. If you prefer something softer, a woven basket with a waterproof liner works beautifully. It introduces natural texture while keeping everything contained. Add a small tray underneath to catch water and protect your flooring. Placement matters. Keep it near the door, but out of the main traffic path, somewhere you can reach without dripping across the room. Bonus: use the same spot for a foldable umbrella or walking stick to keep everything consistent. Now, the mail slot. This is the paper trap solution every small home needs. Wall-mounted mail holders come in endless styles, from slim wooden ledges to metal grids or minimalist letter trays. Mount it just above your console or near the door handle at natural reach height. Here's the secret: treat it as both functional and decorative. Use one compartment for incoming mail and another for outgoing items, envelopes, return slips, or small deliveries. Add a label or small divider so things never mix. The goal is to stop paper clutter before it migrates to your dining table or sofa. It's that 1-minute act that saves you hours of tidying later. Design-wise, choose materials that echo your other entry pieces. A brass or oak mail slot pairs beautifully with neutral tones. Matte black works for industrial or modern interiors. The consistency keeps the look seamless, like part of a built-in system, not an afterthought. Together, these two details, the umbrella stand and mail slot, complete the invisible choreography of daily life. You walk in, drop the mail, hang your bag, place your umbrella, all in one calm, predictable rhythm. That's what good design does. It removes friction from your routine and replaces it with flow. In small apartments, that flow is everything. Because when your entry works, the rest of your home feels lighter. You start and end every day with less stress and a little more grace. So here's the truth about small apartments. The difference between chaos and calm isn't size, it's structure. When every item has a home, when the entry knows its purpose, even a one-room space can feel like a sanctuary. You don't need a grand foyer or custom built-ins to feel organized. You just need intention. A floating shelf that greets you when you walk in. Hooks that hold your day's weight. A basket that catches the rest. These small gestures add up, not just visually, but emotionally. They tell your brain, your home. You can let go. That's the quiet power of design. Not just how it looks, but how it feels. Every tray, rug, and light becomes part of your daily rhythm, transforming routine into ritual. And before you realize it, your entry isn't just the place you pass through, it's the place that resets you. If you found this video helpful, or if it gave you a few ideas for your own small space, hit like. It helps others discover calm, thoughtful living too. And if you love these kinds of home design breakdowns, real, practical, beautiful solutions for tiny apartments, make sure to subscribe. There's a new episode every week exploring how small spaces can still feel deeply personal, warm, and inspiring. Until next time, remember, you don't need more space. You just need better flow. And that starts right where you walk in the door.